troops and equipment stacked up all over Europe tonight. Bad weather in Bosnia. We'll give you the view from on high. From the Pentagon tonight, orders to expand the search worldwide for racism and hate groups in the U.S. Army. Another kind of war at home, the war on drugs. New evidence we're losing as teenager use is way up. And our American close-up, a soldier, General Bill Nash, the man in charge of U.S. troops in Bosnia, a big job.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from Frankfurt.
Good evening. The American military, the most powerful and sophisticated fighting force in history, met its match today. The weather in Europe. Heavy fog in the mountain valleys of northeast Bosnia. It's keeping U.S. planes out for a second day in a row. And the forecast is not very encouraging. A nasty weather system is stalled right over Bosnia. There are no signs it will break up soon. Rail lines are in bad shape. The mountain roads into Tuzla mean long, dangerous trips, especially for this many troops and heavy equipment. So the advance forces for the big buildup are stalled tonight. They're beginning to stack up all over Europe. We begin with NBC's Tom Aspel.
NATO planners knew Bosnia's winter might disrupt its mission, but fog and freezing temperatures have practically paralyzed it. Weather forecasters say there'll be more bad weather through the weekend, and after Monday, another storm system could make things worse.
600 overcast, 1,000 meters viz.
Nothing has landed at Tuzla Air Base for 2 days. 40 flights have been cancelled. The problem?
Airplanes currently need 600 feet of ceiling and 1.5 miles of visibility to land safely at Tuzla. They're waiting for test flights to check navigational aids to lower those minimums.
A test plane circled 3 times today to try to line up its equipment with ground radar, but it couldn't land because of the fog.
The pilot himself cannot see the runway, and he can't touch down, especially with all the heavy stuff they have on the aircraft.
The weather has bottled up American troops all over Europe. At Aviano Air Base in northern Italy, 300 out of 800 Army paratroopers scheduled to go to Bosnia are ready. At Tizar Air Base in Hungary, troops from the 1st Armored Division are standing by. At their headquarters in Ramstein Air Base, Germany, the word is hurry up and wait. U.S. troops here are making the best of it.
How do I feel? Kind of lonely right now. Should be more people on the ground, but the fog is in here. So we'll wait for it to clear and hopefully they'll get in.
The U.S. military says they may be delayed, but they're not behind, since official orders to deploy haven't been given yet. Orders aside, people here could have told the Americans that Bosnia's winter is brutal. Getting the weather to cooperate may be mission impossible. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Tuzla.
It's especially frustrating here at Ramstein Air Force Base, where much of the airlift to Tuzla begins. But for 2 days, that airlift has not arrived, and I found out firsthand today. The Air Force is using its old reliable for these trips, the C-130. This one is 25 years old. It can fly low and slow and carry trucks and troops. Our C-130 was loaded with a Humvee and 2 trailers. Brigadier General Stanley Cherry, the number 2 man in the 1st Armored, is making his 2nd attempt today to get into Tuzla. For some on his staff, their 3rd attempt in 24 hours. That's more than 15 hours of flying tedium and no landing. Up on the flight deck, the view over the Alps was breathtaking and clear, but trouble lay ahead. As we crossed into Bosnia, the crew put on helmets and flak jackets, but the weather, not enemy guns, was the villain. Tuzla is somewhere down there, buried beneath the fog in those valleys. We kept asking, Tuzla, what's your weather? The answer didn't change much. Visibility 600 meters and a 500-foot ceiling. We circled for close to an hour, then headed back to Germany. 5 hours in the air, 26,000 pounds of fuel, no bonus miles. After 2 unsuccessful days, these troops are now thinking of alternative routes to get into Tuzla. The alternatives for getting into Tuzla are not very appealing. For critical equipment that should be in place before the bulk of the troops arrive, that equipment may have to try to fly into Sarajevo and then be driven 9 or 10 hours over dangerous mountain roads. The Air Force's man on the ground tonight in Tuzla is Colonel Neil Patton. Colonel, I know it must be pretty frustrating. How critical is this weather situation at this hour?
Right now the weather's still pretty bad. We have poised the men and equipment to unload the airplanes if we can just get them here.
I know that the bulk of the forces are not due until Monday of next week and beginning after that, but there are some elements that need to be in place before they arrive. Are you going to be able to get them in place?
Yes, we can. As I said, we've got everything on this end for our part of the puzzle. The unfortunate thing is the weather is bad in this valley and we just can't get the airplanes in right now.
What are the forecasters saying about the long-range prospects?
It's looking pretty bad for tomorrow, perhaps a break the day after, and better towards Sunday and Monday.
But if you don't get a break in the weather by Sunday, you're going to have to start coming overland with some of that equipment?
I'm not sure what that part of the puzzle is. We haven't talked about anything past still trying to get everything in by air and back into Tuzla.
I talked with some of your colleagues here at Ramstein. They said December is the worst single month to be flying into Tuzla. You've got to have ceilings of 1,500 feet, and you're only going to get about, 30% of the month of December with those kinds of ceilings?
Well, we knew the weather was going to be bad. We didn't think it'd be quite this bad in one clump like this. The weather system is stalled, which it normally blows through, and we're just stuck in a real bad period right now.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Colonel Patton. We wish you all the best down there. I'll be back later with a short tour of the underground bunker built for nuclear war, where now they're coordinating peace in Europe. And our American close-up tonight, the general in charge of American troops on the ground in Bosnia. But now to my colleague Brian Williams in New York with more of the day's news. Brian?
Thanks, Tom. When NBC Nightly News continues that very alarming new report about what kids are doing.
Trends for marijuana and cigarette use are unmistakably headed the wrong way.
Teenage smoking and drug use on the rise. And the question now, are there any answers?
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash somehow.
Hello?
Rita, got your credit card?
I need $500. Now.
I'll call Western Union.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH and you can use your credit card to send money from home, anytime, day or night. And that can make everyone sleep easier. Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Okay, let's meet at Red Lobster in an hour.
It's Red Lobster's ultimate feast. All your favorites on one plate. Rock lobster, roasted shrimp, fried shrimp, and snow crab. Hurry, the ultimate feast ends soon. Happy holidays from Red Lobster.
I love these family get-togethers.
I love Grandma's creamy Eagle Brand pumpkin pie.
Me too.
This year she made it with new Eagle Brand fat-free.
Fat-free? No way. It tastes too good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe next year we can eat it at the grown-ups table.
Outside of this box of Russell Stover candies, life has changed in the last 70 years. But inside, very little has changed. We're still using our time-honored recipes and only the finest ingredients. That's why we can guarantee freshness and home-fashioned goodness in every piece. Nobody does chocolate like Russell Stover does chocolate.
The battle over the federal budget turned ugly again today. The talks broke down again, and the government will partially shut down again tonight at midnight, though not many will be affected by it over the weekend. Republicans accuse the president of using phony economic assumptions in his latest proposal. Tonight he fired back, saying their proposed cuts were plain wrong. A disturbing new report on kids and drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes is raising big questions tonight about just where America's teenagers are headed. The annual survey by the University of Michigan has warning bells ringing now in Washington. Our report tonight from NBC's Robert Hager.
The report finds yet another increase in smoking and drug use by teenagers. Third year in a row of this alarming trend. Health Secretary Shalala delivered the bad news.
Your children are at risk. we have a generation at risk.
Nearly 1 million high school seniors reported smoking, almost 1 of every 3, up 20% since 1991. As for even younger kids, 658,000 eighth graders said they'd smoked in the last month, up 33% from 1991. Researchers say many will now stay hooked well into their adult life, maybe forever. As for illegal drugs, nearly half of all students now admit they've used them before finishing high school. Nearly 1 million seniors reported using marijuana within the last year. Again, 1 of every 3, up 58% from 1991. More than 500,000 eighth graders reported using marijuana, up an astounding 158% from 1991. Perplexing because both cigarette smoking and illegal drug use declined all through the 1980s. Why then, for young people alone, should the trend suddenly reverse itself in the last 3 or 4 years? Some say approval has crept back into the culture, more smoking in movies, in music, more lyrics about drugs. Do kids think this is in? Dwayne Garcia, 17-year-old New Yorker who's now whipped a drug problem, remembers.
I think a lot of it has to do with peer pressure because, that's how I got into it, because everyone else was doing it and it was like the cool thing to do.
Many also say parents must also share blame for not being tougher, as society searches for new ways to offset this growing problem. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Today, a deadline came and went in Washington, and the White House did not turn over those Whitewater documents that a Senate committee had demanded, so the committee quickly voted to fight them. If the full Senate agrees, they'll all take the fight to federal court. On Wall Street today, the Dow was down in record trading. The NASDAQ was down as well. For the week, the Dow was up and the NASDAQ down. When we continue, we'll go back to Tom Brokaw for NBC News In Depth tonight, the risks to American soldiers, and a first look at the U.S. Command Center, mission control for Bosnia.
It wouldn't be the holidays without pie, so today we're going to make an easy pie crust from scratch.
Easy? We'll show them easy.
First, gather all your ingredients, measure, mix, make a ball.
Or just unfold, fill, and bake.
For a pie crust that's tender, flaky, and tastes like you made it from scratch, follow this simple recipe. Pillsbury refrigerated pie crust.
It's as easy as you know what.
He's always brought me luck.
White Diamonds, the intriguing fragrance from Elizabeth Taylor. Your gift with any $42 White Diamonds fragrance purchase.
These vegetables are about to be perfectly steamed, like food has never been steamed before, in the Black & Decker Handy Steamer. Because deliciously steamed food requires perfect timing.
Everybody hates to eat and run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And when all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Introducing new cherry-flavored Alka-Seltzer with a mouth-watering cherry taste. Nothing's faster for relief of acid indigestion or heartburn with headache. Get new cherry Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
NBC News In Depth tonight, continuing our special coverage of Bosnia and the dangers that U.S. troops will face once they arrive and begin to patrol unknown and dangerous ground where any place can be a flashpoint. As NBC Jim Maceda reports In Depth tonight, there's much to learn, and learning will be the key to survival.
These Scandinavians know what's in store for Americans when they begin to deploy here. As UN peacekeepers, they patrol the northern front lines since October's ceasefire. Soon they will switch hats and, as NATO forces, fan out with the Americans along a 200-mile corridor between Bosnian and Serb soldiers. The U.S. Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles, much bigger than this UN armor, will be much harder to maneuver. Their advice to U.S. troops, watch out for surprises. Like a fresh foot of snow, making hundreds of thousands of surface landmines difficult to see and mountain roads even more treacherous. These Swedes know where to go and think the U.S. troops are bound to make mistakes.
When we came here, there was no snow, and we had also difficulties. I think it will take some time before the Americans get used to the area.
When Americans set out on their 3-day patrols, one of the biggest flashpoints, the Doughboy Pocket, only 30 miles west of Tuzla and scene of some of the war's heaviest fighting. According to the Dayton Agreement, the pocket will remain Serb. Bosnian fighters say that if U.S. troops won't return their homeland, a new war will.
Most of us are very disappointed. Of course I'm angry. Now I live as a refugee on the wrong side. Once I had land, my house. Now life is empty.
When American troops patrol the Doughboy Pocket, they will find Bosnian checkpoints within sight of Serb villages. Both sides still enemies and still armed. This Muslim village, Klokotnica, will be right in the middle of the American zone. The local Bosnian commander says his troops will cooperate, retreating about a mile to make way for the Americans.
All landmines and sniper nests will be removed. We will provide unconditional safety.
Serb forces will also retreat 1 mile. But many villagers who live in this corridor, both Bosnian Serbs and Muslims, expect U.S. troops to bring law and order. The U.S. military says it will simply separate opposing armies. Local frustrations could lead to violence, making American soldiers potential targets. The ceasefire has held. Before the latest snow, Bosnian troops were turning frontline patrols into bird hunts. But they must navigate roads strewn with landmines. So will the Americans.
The headquarters and the government is one thing, but the people who are standing in the checkpoints, it's not always that they know the correct orders.
Unlike these UN forces, American troops will be able to fire first if threatened. But there is always that surprise. Jim Masade of NBC News in the Doughboy Pocket, Bosnia.
Altogether, there are 28 nations involved in this peacekeeping operation to one degree or another, all from NATO, plus the likes of Russia, Poland, even Ukraine and Malaysia. It's a massive coordination job, and it's going on not too far from where I'm standing. In a bunker 50 feet underground, the U.S. Air Force is coordinating peace.
And the European command says, okay, this goes first, this goes second, and then the airlift and the trains and the trucks transport accordingly.
You become a kind of a broker in the whole process.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
These men are coordinating the building of bridges and roads. In this area, it's logistics. There's even a lawyer to interpret the rules of engagement, to make sure the sovereignty of other countries is respected and obeyed. Keeping the peace can be as complex as fighting a war, but it's a lot more gratifying.
Hopefully the sort of operations we have to participate in would be peacekeeping operations because, frankly, as you know, we would like to run ourselves out of business, but I don't think we will anytime in the near future.
Ironically, all this peace planning is being run out of a top security command post built in the 1970s to fight World War III, to withstand a direct nuclear attack. By the way, one of the most important jobs in that bunker, coordinating the mail for the troops in the field, especially at this time of the year. We'll have a totally different story about the military when Nightly News continues with Brian Williams in New York. The Pentagon now dramatically widening its hunt for racists in the U.S. Army.
To me, the best rules are the ones you make yourself. For example, if there's a better way, I'll take it. That's how I found this Healthy Choice cereal from Kellogg's. They really made new rules when they invented these toasted brown sugar squares, like give it 3 different grains for a good crunch. Then put enough brown sugar and honey in there so you don't miss a frosting. Fun without frosting. Now there's a rule I can live with.
Healthy Choice cereal. Sure, it's good for you.
But taste rules.
Out in Canyon City, Colorado, helping people is always in season at Sonny's Ace Home Center. And during the Ace Holiday Happening Sale, your local Ace can help you save on all your holiday favorites. That's why Ace is a place with the helpful hardware folks.
Coaching college basketball, I'm always out there recruiting. And I need to be reachable anywhere or I'll lose the kids to another program. So I got my own AT&T 500 number. They can reach me at virtually any phone.
Nixon.
There's this kid you gotta see. Donald Austin in Brookville.
It's called AT&T True Connections. And what it means is that I'm never out of touch.
Dixon. Oh, hi, Mrs. Austin.
Now the kids can be sure to get to me before they make their decision. My own 500 number. Sure helps.
That's your true choice. AT&T.
You build a razor with a precision groove to help the Norelco lift and cut system shave closer than ever before. And what do you get? The Norelco razor, our closest shave ever.
For 15 years, we've taken good care of each other.
We sure have.
And to take better care of our health, we've started drinking Ensure. Ensure is recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete, balanced nutrition.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure has all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between meals. Ensure. To your health, honey.
To our health.
Ensure, recommended #1 by doctors.
Dateline tonight. This killer train wreck was no accident, but the reason has remained a mystery until investigators dug deeper. Does this typewriter hold the key to this nightmare in the desert? Dateline tonight.
As U.S. troops go overseas to enforce peace, stateside commanders are dealing with a problem on bases nationwide. It involves race and hatred. NBC's Ed Rabel is at the Pentagon tonight.
The Army is quietly pressing its plans to identify extremists in its ranks while publicly downplaying the extent of the problem.
The commanding general of the 82nd Airborne Division, for example, has asked for a survey to try to ascertain. He has not even come up with 20 names yet.
In fact, defense officials tell NBC News 12 extremists already have been identified, and the number is growing. All 15,000 members of the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg are under intense scrutiny today. Police have accused 3 soldiers here with white supremacist views in the murder of a black couple. In its worldwide search, Army investigators will demand that soldiers confess their membership or participation in organizations like the Skinheads and the Neo-Nazis. Especially disturbing is a report to be published in Soldier of Fortune magazine. It describes an underground extremist army group allegedly embedded among U.S. Special Forces at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Carson, Colorado, and Fort Devens, Massachusetts. Reporter James Pate.
If they think it's so inconsequential, it's curious that they're going to such extreme efforts to identify these people.
Late today, the Army announced that one of the 3 soldiers involved in the racial murders had his security clearance revoked 4 months ago because of other racist activities. But it wasn't until the killings that the Army moved aggressively to deal with the problem. Ed Rabel, NBC News, the Pentagon.
Updating for you now, 2 stories we brought you last night. In San Francisco, the AIDS patient who received a bone marrow transplant from a baboon is reported in good condition, but months away from knowing if this will prolong his life or not. And remember those newborn twins now named Joseph and Mary who were abandoned in Florida. They were visited today by temporary foster parents who hope to have them home by Christmas. When we continue, back to Tom Brokaw and his American close-up. He will meet the general responsible for the safety of U.S. troops in Bosnia.
On the face of things, Tavist seems to cost a bit more than these cold medicines, but prices can be deceiving. See, one little 12-hour Tavist is so effective at relieving your congestion and sneezing that to get close to the same relief, you'd have to take 4 of these, or up to 6 of these, or 6 of these. So with these guys, you could pay more than twice as much, and you don't even get continuous relief. Now, there's something to feel sick about. Prescription strength Tavist. Relief you can count on.
Here's a gift the whole family will enjoy. Not just day after day, but year after year. The gift of Prime Star. The only satellite TV you can get without having to buy a dish. A service that offers up to 95 channels in digital picture and sound with no equipment to buy. Starting at about $1 a day. To give this special holiday gift, call 1-800-PRIME-STAR and enjoy the holidays.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta is setting the pace for business travelers with an event of its own, the Around the World Relay. It's a team event, coordinating thousands of flights a day to cities throughout the world. So you can go from one plane to another, one place to another, in record time. Delta Airlines.
Finally, great popcorn from your microwave. Power Pop. Presto Power Pop Microwave Multi-Popper. Power Pop. Pops virtually every kernel. Pop with oil, pop without oil. Nothing pops like Power Pop. That's why it's endorsed by Orville Redenbacher. Power Pop. From Presto.
Salad shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect salad shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like
Salad Shooter.
Slicer Shredder from Presto.
Helps you every day.
Saturday on Today, there's still time to shop by mail. We'll show you some unusual gift ideas, and for something more traditional, jewelry from Van Cleef & Arpels. Saturday on Today.
It's Friday, time for Our American Close-Up. This week, it's a man you'll be seeing a lot of in the coming weeks. The man who will be running the show on the ground for the United States in Bosnia. He's an old-fashioned warrior with modern taste. He smokes cigars, but he's also a big fan of Doonesbury. Many of his friends call him Billy. We call him Our American Close-Up.
He's a soldier. He will lead us through.
He's an ordinary guy. If he wasn't in uniform, you wouldn't even know that he was a general.
This is how his soldiers see Major General William Lafayette Nash. Charismatic, yet down to earth. The right man for the job in Bosnia. As commander of the 1st Armored Division, Nash will lead 20,000 Americans in this peacekeeping mission.
All right, if it'll hold me, it may hold artillery.
Yet, he plays down his individual role. Now you're really in the cockpit. The whole world's going to be looking in because the United States is sending a sizable force into Bosnia. Does that make the mission tougher?
Well, first of all, I'm not alone in the cockpit. I'm just one of 3 division commanders, the others being from France and Great Britain. Now, where are you out of? You out of the 82nd?
As we followed him around this week, this second-generation Army officer made it a point to put the focus on his soldiers as they prepared to leave their families behind.
What's she worried about the most?
She's worried about the most me stepping on a landmine.
Okay.
Some of the young families, the wives particularly, have not been happy about this assignment, especially at this time of the year.
It's my judgment, Tom, that the families understand. The families are going to stick together. The Army is very concerned about the welfare of the families, just of course as we are with the welfare of the soldiers. Did you expect to have to go off to Bosnia so soon after arriving?
No, I didn't, but go where they send me.
Okay. Sergeant Bush?
Yet he also heard voices of concern.
Sergeant Bush, what can I do for you?
Well, sir, just make sure we're out within a year.
You must be aware that the American people remain, at best, very skeptical about this operation.
I'm not going to get involved in the debate in America over our involvement in Bosnia.
He says this debate is part of what has been called the noise of democracy.
When that noise of democracy is about committing the sons and daughters of America, it's quite natural that it be a loud debate. At the same time this debate has gone on, everybody has told me that the American people will support the sons and daughters of America as they go about their job.
General Nash has seen it before. In 27 years in the military, he's been a platoon leader in Vietnam and a brigade commander in the Gulf War, leading his soldiers to battle against Iraq's elite Republican Guard. He knows the challenge in Bosnia will be difficult, especially now. But he suggests the season is right.
Without getting too carried away, I would tell you that maybe Christmas is a good time to bring peace to Bosnia.
General William Nash, West Point class of '68. He'll be one of Tim Russert's guests this Sunday on Meet the Press. That's Nightly News for tonight. Don't forget Dateline NBC tonight, a special investigation into the sabotage of that Amtrak train wreck in Arizona. That's Dateline tonight at 9, 8 Central Time. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you from somewhere on Monday.
The world is now watching the NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. NBC News, now more than ever.
The battle's in Washington, Bosnia, the budget. What can we expect? We'll ask presidential candidate Dole and General Nash, troop commander in Bosnia. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press with Kim Russert.
It's been sighted. The sea monster of Cadborough Bay.
I saw this face looking at me.
Hundreds of witnesses hear their incredible story. All new Unsolved Mysteries, NBC tonight. We got a cop here. His partner is found dead.
Somebody did something.
And a search for answers uncovers the shocking, cruel truth. Homicide, NBC tonight.